open your mind and journey through the cosmos of the universe. This is Bridging Realms with Dr. Jean Carlisle and False Freedom 691.
To another edition of Bridging Realms. I'm False Freedom 691.
And I'm Dr. Jean Carlisle.
Doc, been a while since we've seen each other in person. We've been in our own quarantine situations. How are things over there?
It's good. We've been hard at work and fighting the good fight, trying to expose truth, keep our episodes online, keep everything, present. We're fighting a lot of censorship these days in conspiracy culture. So, a lot of our episodes have been up and down. So I've been dealing with a lot of that. And, our continued research, of course. Continued research and seeing where Bridging Realms can go post COVID-19, post coronavirus in this new world that we're going to be experiencing.
Yeah, and everybody's answer to all of this is cancel, 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 left and right. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, lamestream media, you can't cancel me. I've never laid a finger on a woman. I haven't touched my own mom. My mom didn't breastfeed me. She got me right in a crib, got a bottle in my mouth. My dad handled with gloves. I have never laid a finger on a woman. I have never been close to touching a woman. None of them will let me do it, and I've asked for consent many times.
I believe you. I'll say that. I believe you. And, I think our listener base, I think our fans, they believe you as well. I know, and some of these episodes may have been taken down, but I think I've said in the past, and I'll say it again, I've apologized in the past for my sexual transgressions towards women, and, I have paid dearly in the court of law as well, so I'm not a registered sex offender. We'll go ahead and get those rumors out of there because that's not true. I did not have to register, but I have done my community service and I have apologized to those three women. So
I'm just really glad that you were able to dodge that bullet. The old sex offender stamp on the license doesn't do too good for getting those press credentials.
No, and I'll several cases involve just public urination, and that's a hard trap to fall into, man. And then you can't do what some people would be would call indecent exposure, or what some would call just whipping it out.
Yeah.
It was a different time. The 90s and the early 2000s were a different time, and there was a time where you could just whip it out, and that was acceptable. An acceptable move used by men in courtship of women. Just whipping it out and showing it to them, and maybe giving them a little example, of what it can do. Or just showing them this is how I clean it, and
usually though, those dudes were two pump chumps, you know what I mean? So they could they could take that thing for a test drive real quick. They could demo right on the floor, and they could they could squirt the product right there and be like, hey, this is what I can give you right now. Just a good old two pump chump doing his stuff.
Right, and that actually that is what that is kind of the trouble I got into there, False. Having some two pump problems myself, when and that's what I did have to settle in that civil case. But sometimes you do the pumps while you're trying to just get it a little bit better looking. You whip it out. It's a little bit less. She's a little bit less than impressed. So you do a couple of pumps, and then suddenly it goes off. And so then you're that's not just exposure. That is then assault. Because you've blasted onto a woman, you know. So that kind of thing is admissible in court, you know. And you will have to explain yourself, which I did, you know, and
Yeah.
I did do some great community service where I got to explain my actions to a bunch of kids, you know, and teach them not to, you know, pump or blast on women, because that is inappropriate, you know, without consent.
Guys, you should also know the pump rules of your state. Luckily, one of these charges, Dr. Gene, was in Georgia, which is a 5-pump state.
Yeah, you can have it out there actually.
Yeah. So
You can legally have it out. Most states you cannot. You cannot even whip it out for urination. You know, you're supposed to be in some sort of restroom for that.
yeah, the actual Georgia laws changed quite a bit because of the Crandall alligator law of 1986, which was caused by, basically men would be outside peeing, and then somebody would say, "Ah, an alligator," or something to that effect. "Ah, a crocodile. Ah, an alligator." Well,
Right.
you're gonna turn around and look, and you got your dick in your hand when you do it. You know?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard that trick with maybe worms or something like that too. Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
you know, it's a worm.
So
Yeah.
what? I'm turning around to look at this worm, and my penis is still in my hand.
Right. You know, that's actually a common trick. You know, and this is good to get out there to the cryptozoology realm.
Yeah.
You know, there are charlatans out there. There are snake oil salesmen that will try to take you on, you know, Bigfoot hunts, chupacabra hunts, the old school snipe hunt. You know, is the original fake out, and it's a wild goose chase. They'll really just get you out there in the woods, you know, to tell you to look at something, and then, you know, when you turn around, the creature that they're supposedly exposing to you, you know, is their penis. You know, it's a worm coming out of their fly or something like that. Um, I'll tell you, you know, that can even help happen on UFO hunts or
Yeah.
UFO guided meditation tours, maybe. You know, you might see the penis of you know, a certain ufologist whose name rhymes with Dr. Schmeven Schmear. You know, False and I may or may not have been exposed to his penis, but I'm not saying anything because I don't want to make any allegations, because we were also on ayahuasca, so.
We were on ayahuasca, and we were promised some incredible career opportunities that I'm pretty sure if we would have refused the penis, those career opportunities would have evaporated.
Oh yeah, like yeah, we we were definitely you know, we were definitely getting into some CE5, if you could call it that as a slang term,
Yeah.
and you know, and we're in the middle of the desert. You know, it's the implication there. You're in the middle of the desert. There's nowhere to run. You know, but we were open to this. We were open to new experiences. So maybe, you know, maybe we'll talk about that in the future. Our ayahuasca trip in the desert, looking for UFOs, because I think we both had some transcendent experiences there, and that was one of the you know, one of the defining moments for us when we were, you know, going to start this organization and this podcast. But I think this is a good segue talking about, you know, sex offenses and you know, nearly becoming sex offenders, to talk about some actual sex offenders.
Yeah. A real live sex offender. We have covered an associate of hers on the podcast already. Pour one out for Jeffrey. It's still hard to bring up, but today we are talking about G-Max herself, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, and you know, there's a point of contention right there, and something to debate on the podcast immediately is how to say her fucking name. Ghislaine, is it Ghislaine? Gil Ghislaine?
I
Gillian?
I'm almost 100% certain the proper pronunciation is Ghislaine.
Okay, I'll take Ghislaine. I mean, I heard Ghislaine as well. I did watch the Netflix documentary on Epstein, Filthy Rich. It is really fucking disturbing
Yeah?
and uncomfortable. Definitely don't watch it with the fam, because it is definitely uncomfortable. They take you in depth, into some of the things that happened. So definitely, watch it over dinner.
How did they pronounce it on the Netflix special?
Ghislaine. Which is fucking not how it's spelled at all. Which is a very rich and elite thing to do, is to have a name and then, basically gaslight someone into saying that your name is something completely different than how it is spelled.
Yeah.
Um, like basically, like Tom DeLonge tries to tell people that his name is not Tom DeLonge. And a lot of people, I mean, you can still on the internet to this day find people arguing over whether it is DeLonge or DeLonge.
How is he not like hawking Tom de lozenges by now?
Why is the E there? If it is not DeLonge. Either way, Ghislaine Maxwell, big part of Epstein Palooza. Jeffrey Epstein, we're keeping him in the news is what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
With all the coronavirus, with all the pandemic going on, we're just trying to keep this in the news because all this stuff, I feel like all the unrest in our country right now is a psyop to, distract from what's really going on here.
Yeah, and just like Elton John said, the candle burned out long before the legend ever will.
Right. Beautiful words and beautiful lyrics, and really telling. So we're keeping it alive. We're letting people know because many people believe Epstein didn't kill himself, and now we're in that situation again. It feels like deja vu, right?
Yeah. Like last I heard, they even had her in the same fucking jail cell. Like I'm pretty sure it's known on that block as suicide cell. I think they introduced anybody who they need suicided into that cell specifically. I don't think Jeff was the first one. I mean, I'm pretty sure the same sleepy guards are always on duty there.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the writing's on the wall. It seems like it's only going to be a matter of time until she meets, the same fate that Jeffrey Epstein did, and then we'll all, get to argue about it and make memes. But let's talk about who Ghislaine Maxwell was, for our listeners who may not know. I know, False, you've done some extensive research into this.
Yeah, let me read you a definition real quick for you and the listeners, Doc. So this
Please
is
do.
Definition for bottom bitch. Okay. A bottom bitch is a bottom girl, a bottom woman, or bottom bitch, sits atop the hierarchy of prostitutes working for a particular pimp. A bottom girl is usually the prostitute who has been with the pimp the longest and consistently makes the most money. Being the bottom girl gives the prostitute status and power over the other women working for her pimp. However, the bottom girl also bears many responsibilities. They work the track in the pimp's stead. They run interference for collecting money for the pimp's other prostitutes. They look over the pimp's affairs if the pimp is out of town, incarcerated, or otherwise unavailable. I think Ghislaine is best summed up as a bottom bitch herself.
This is a hot take, actually. This is a revelation for me. In watching the documentary, I just thought like right-hand man or like partner in crime kind of thing. Like it seemed like she just kind of helped traffic or got in on some of the nipple tweaking,
Yeah.
and weird nipple play stuff. But this is a hot take. This is an accurate definition, in which she was, the top one.
She was, and
bottom one, bottom bitch, as you describe it.
yeah, and when she came to Jeffrey, her family was in a state of financial ruin anyway, and we'll get to that later in the show.
Oh shit! I mean, that's, if you watch the documentary, that's exactly like all the other girls involved with Epstein. He definitely liked a rags to riches story, where he was able to, give them everything.
Oh yeah, and he definitely did so here. So Ghislaine was also the lead recruiter for Jeffrey. So she was tasked with finding teenage girls, 12 to 14-year-olds, to work in the massage parlors and to go to the island itself. She'd take them to the movies, she'd take them shopping, she'd just groom them in general. She'd get details about their personal lives, she'd put rift between them and their families. She just classic grooming behavior, and she would bring them into the inner circle, and they'd be giving massages and eventually engaging in sexual acts in the island itself.
Fuck. Yeah, dude. I mean, and this is this stuff is out there. We've seen these photos. There's photos of her with very high profile people. As far as, like, Prince Andrew, and Trump.
Yeah, and
Bill Clinton.
We've got some photos, some exclusive Bridging Realms photos of some of these people you're speaking of right now, and at different points in the show, I'm going to be able to queue them up and show you some of this. Yeah. So moving along, she was the daughter of Robert Maxwell, who was a member of Parliament. And he was also a Mossad spy, is the word, that he was a Mossad spy. That's not proven, but I mean, it's the Mossad. Where are you going to prove anything?
Yeah, that's not, you're not going to be able to link that directly,
Yeah, so he owns several publishing companies, including the Mirror, and it turned out he was skimming a bunch of money off of all his company's pension fund. So he had basically worked the organized crime aspect of it and had ripped off hundreds of millions of dollars. And he died $5 billion in debt. So her family was just absolutely in ruins from I mean, can you even consider how catastrophic that is, that a member of Parliament dies $5 billion in debt?
Yeah,
that's a large fall.
Right, and you're talking the British Parliament, right?
Yeah.
So she's like part British. She's also got some ties to Israel.
Yeah.
But then, she ends up, rich, powerful elite in America. So many international ties here.
Yeah, and she was globetrotting long before the Epstein days. Her father actually was found floating face down right beside his yacht, and it was ruled a suicide. Ghislaine was on record as saying that she suspected he was murdered. A lot of theories around it are that the Mossad caught on to all the money he was skimming. They knew about it. They knew how far his debt profile was, and they thought it would make him in danger of talking about the Mossad arms deals he had been involved in about. And he could be basically blabbing to the British about that. So a lot of people think the Mossad did it. A lot of people think that somebody within his company figured out and did it themselves, because they figured out he had robbed from the pension. But I mean, if I got to go anywhere, my money's on Mossad.
Well, that makes sense. I don't know as much about that conspiracy realm as you, but I know they do some shady shit. And if they're involved, then that makes sense for someone, especially her dad, to be suicided. And now, very sad that she possibly may be suicided as well. Um, so let's get into some of her connections here, as far as like what else she was doing with Epstein.
Well, she was definitely had a connection with the Clinton. They were very close to the Clintons. Been photographed all the time with the Clintons. I'll throw a photo up right here if I can find it. Hang on, I may have replaced that one. Let's run to a break real quick, and I will pull it up right after. And we're back. Here is the photo in question I was trying to pull up. So you got clearly Bill down there in the corner. Over on the right, you got Jeff and G-Max. And then in the middle, you've got Bill and G-Max boarding the Lolita Express right there. They are boarding the Lolita Express for takeoff.
And there it is, folks. Right there is where the magic happens, per se. For one thing, if you watch the Netflix special, you get a nice taste of Jeffrey Epstein having quote unquote hardcore sex on the Lolita Express in front of people who pretended to be sleeping. I'll tell you that right now. People think that was weird, but there is a specific kink out there for people who like to watch sex while pretending to be sleeping.
So, was it a kink for Jeff too? Was it a kink for Jeff that they're pretending they're sleeping, but they really know what's going on? Is that part of his kink?
I think so, and I think definitely a power move as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Lolita Express then led to his island, Epstein Island, which he called Little St. Jeff's, which was out at Little St. James in the Virgin Islands. And yeah, they've got some incredible drone footage of it. It's a really beautiful island where incredible sex crimes and tragedies took place.
Yeah, and there's some incredible architecture out there.
Yeah, everything looks very beach house. The blue roofs make it look a little Scientology for me. Like maybe Tom Cruise owned it and then sold it to Epstein or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you hear some of the things that went down there, it is pretty gross. I'm really, it really just comes down to, who was on those flight logs, who went on the Lolita Express, who got on the plane, who went to the island, who fucked on the island, because like the employees that they got and that they interviewed said that not everybody was there to fuck, or at least they couldn't tell.
Yeah.
If everybody was there to fuck, some people came to the island simply for like luncheons and shit. So Epstein definitely sometimes only had luncheons or meetings on the island, and not always fuck sessions. So it's hard to say. Some of them may have been on the flight logs, but not gone to have sex. But others, like Prince Andrew, were definitely seen um, doing the sexual assault. So he is definitely one of the main names out there, and there are others, like the Clintons, Trumps, Alan Dershowitz.
Old Prince Andrew was ratted out by Kevin Spacey himself. That's why they allowed Kevin Spacey to kill those guys.
Fuck, man. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't want to get on Spacey's bad side. He'll fucking release one of those Frank Underwood videos on you.
Yeah.
Um, that would be horrifying.
Spacey's got too much shit on people, man. Spacey's got too much shit. He's untouchable.
Spacey's definitely was on the plane. He's in that fucking documentary. Because they went on a promotional trip with like Kevin Spacey, and Chris Tucker, I think. It looked like a real wild trip, a real fun time. Like they were
Yeah,
probably
hell yeah.
hamming it up, Spacey and Tucker and shit. That was probably really fun.
You
But
that's right though, right? Spacey ratted on Prince, Andrew, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, he was.
They didn't say anything went down on that, because I was like, oh man, did Spacey and Chris Tucker like, did they go to the island and fuck? But it didn't seem so. That seemed like it was a promotional trip for some sort of charity thing, and that there was no fucking. I do not believe that. I believe that Epstein always worked fucking into something, but like,
Yeah.
But a lot of it was lazy as fuck. He really just threw money around and cornered people with massages.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about something else that's really popular right now. It's a little bit of a sidebar, but I feel like it belongs here. So supposedly there's a video out there. Supposedly the contents of Anthony Weiner's laptop when it was found, were enough to make the officer who viewed the videos cry. This guy's dead now. This guy got suicided. This cop.
Right. Yeah.
The video in question is huge right now. Frazzledrip. Everyone's talking about Frazzledrip.
Right. I'm worried to even say that word. I'm worried our episode is going to get taken down. Like our stream's going to get fucked right now. Just for uttering the term Frazzledrip. You
want to guarantee it gets fucked?
It's pinging on our phones. It's pinging on our computers and everything right now because we've said Frazzledick.
I am about to fuck it all up right now. I'm about to get this episode banned. I'm going to show an image from Frazzledrip on the screen.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, here we go.
I mean, okay, like, guys, to our listeners right now, like, because we're not in the same place, we've been, communicating just, over the internet, these calls and stuff like that. I did not know that he told me he was procuring this image. I did not know that he had fully gotten the image, from Fraggleddick. So let's see it. I'm stoked on this. And this is supposedly, a Hillary Clinton snuff film.
Yeah, this is a photo of, for the listeners out there, this is a photo of Huma Abedin, Anthony Weiner's wife, and she's in a mask. She's holding a finger to her lips, and it's filmed off really grainy like tape, so it looks like it's being filmed off a screen in particular. So that's a screenshot from Frazzledrip. The contents of Frazzledrip are Hillary and Huma. They fillet off the face of a child and they wear it as a mask. Initially when I was reading about Frazzledrip, most of the people said, oh, they drink their blood in a satanic ritual. They were siphoning the adrenochrome.
That's what I thought. I mean, I do see it as, probably pretty ritualistic, but that they were still doing it for the adrenochrome. I will say, I have not seen this film. This looks like some Eyes Wide Shut kind of shit, which is pretty believable,
Yeah.
Considering what we know from everything that was going on with Epstein, and him and, Ghislaine Maxwell basically running this honeypot, and that's the question is, was the honeypot for the CIA? Was it for the FBI? Mossad, maybe, now that you've brought in that question, who was who was he an asset for, or was he an asset for several, different agencies?
He could have been, and there's a bigger system at play as well. Epstein's not the head of the pyramid. Wasn't the head of the pyramid specifically.
Right. Speaking of pyramids, it was brought up in the documentary and in one of his court cases that he had an oddly shaped penis. That his penis was shaped maybe like a pyramid in the sense that it comes to a tip,
Yeah.
but it's more like an egg shape. They said they asked they asked him directly if he had an egg shaped penis, and he got pretty uncomfortable, which made me, a man and a doctor, really, Dr. Gene Carlisle, looking into his eyes, and studying his, mannerisms, his speech patterns, looking into his, a man's eyes, I could tell he has an egg-shaped dick, it got under his skin, and he's like, this guy knows that my dick is super thick in the middle,
Yeah.
but smaller at the base and tip.
That's why he wanted to plant his seed throughout the world.
Right, I get a lot of seed built up in the middle there, probably,
Yeah.
and he had to keep cranking that egg, I guess. But we have a pattern here, because his good buddy, Donald Trump, supposedly has a mushroom shaped penis, like like Toad from the Mario games.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll talk about Trump in just a minute, but I wanted to drop just for the listeners that want to deep dive, Les Wexner with Victoria's Secret. Look into it. Les Wexner gave Jeffrey Epstein the island. Jeffrey Epstein was not a billionaire when he got that island. Les Wexner gave him the island.
Yeah.
Les Wexner is the head of the snake.
Epstein definitely did something for Wexner, or found out maybe the odd shape of his penis. Like maybe Wexner's penis is some sort of strange oval, or maybe it's flat, or hollow, if we're looking at Earth theories and shit,
Maybe he didn't have a dick and Epstein gave him a dick.
There you go, or maybe he had some sort of mangled non-penis, like a cock, but it seems to be a pattern with these sex offenders that they have these oddly shaped penises that are very distinctive, and so he definitely had an egg shape. So there's a question, and maybe we'll find out with Ghislaine Maxwell, if this was true, if she has evidence of the egg-shaped cock.
I hope we find out. God, if I could get on jury,
that would be the fucking smoking gun, really.
Yeah, it would. It would 100% be. Back to the oddly shaped penises and Donald Trump. This is an older photo, but here is a picture of Epstein and Trump together here, and you got G-Max on the side over there. I don't think that's Melania with Trump there. I believe it's just a model. Trump was pretty careful from all indications about staying away from Epstein post.
He was very adamant, yeah.
Yeah, post sex offender conviction, he barred him from Mar-a-Lago. Definitely, he didn't want to be seen with the wrong people. That's all I'll really say about it. QAnon, of course, is almost all the way.
Man, QAnon.
Yeah, they're almost all the way predicated on Trump waging a war on pedophile rings and implicating Democrats and Hollywood elite. Well, when something like this goes down, QAnon was touting Jeffrey Epstein way before the arrest happened. I mean, you do have to credit QAnon with that, even if you're not going to credit them with another fucking thing, Doc.
Oh, for sure. I will credit QAnon there. I'm not a big Q fan. I don't consider myself an anon, but I will say that I'll give him the credit there on calling out Epstein, and if that's, if QAnon's involved with Trump and Trump's a white knight, I could see him taking down an Epstein who he is, has a rivalry with, he's jealous of. They both have strange penises. So they've got like this little sleazy rivalry going on, especially, with their prostitution probably and sex trafficking as well.
So, ultimate 4D chess move, pardon Ghislaine. What do you think?
We just fucking. I would say no. I would say he would just let the suicide happen, or they did put her in a COVID wing for 2 weeks, so there is the easy coronavirus out.
Yeah.
Where she could get it and succumb to the mystery disease in 2 days or so, but there is there is the option of the pardon, because we just saw the unthinkable happen in we saw the pardon of Roger Stone.
Yeah.
The blatant pardon of Roger Stone, and he walks free, and the government's back. I mean, the president's back to just tweeting law and order every few hours.
Yeah. Maybe he's got a marathon. It's cool. A lot of people like Law and Order.
Oh, I fucking love I fucking love Law and Order, and that's been a theory of mine for a while. Is that he's not actually calling for Law and Order; it's that he's just tweeting Law and Order because he's excited that it's on TV, and he's caught it on. Because I know he watches a lot of TV, a lot of Fox News.
Yeah, and you'd imagine there's a lot of crossover with that audience. He'd probably be watching a lot of Law and Order because it covers cops and stuff, and he's really into cops. He's a really big cop guy.
Oh, definitely big into cops right now. And he's definitely into law and definitely into order. He's tweeting about them a lot, so I could definitely see him maybe pulling out the pardon. I would say if we do see the Ghislaine Maxwell pardon, that would be a clear indicator to me that Epstein might have more information on President Trump than we know. Like maybe he has the piss tape.
Yeah.
Or she, has the piss tape that Epstein had, or maybe Trump, with underage girls, or Trump with proof of his mushroom-shaped penis. If she had proof of that, if it follows this case, what I'm going to go ahead and predict right now is, and you can call it, on Bridging Realms, predicted by False and Dr. Gene, that within the next 2 weeks, we're going to see that photo surface, because we've been seeing these photos, like everybody with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, they made sure to take photos. They made sure to get the receipts, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a photo of Ghislaine Maxwell and Trump's mushroom-shaped penis.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And again, this leads back into the whole. This leads back into what I said a couple episodes ago. Trump's going to be out of office by the end of July.
He might be, and part of me thinks that maybe it's part of his plan. We saw the leaked info that he maybe was thinking about giving up on running in November, and I don't blame him, to be honest, because the way the country's fucked right now with the lockdowns and COVID and everything, and it's just like, fuck it, why even do it, so I understand, and plus, he's getting some strong competition. Like at first it was just Joe Biden talking shit and sniffing chicks and stuff, but now like Kanye stepping up.
Oh yeah.
That's stiff competition, when Kanye steps up and says, I'm gonna remove the MAGA hat and I'm gonna do my own thing. He's got a good, strong base that he could steal from Trump right there. He's openly tweeting about conspiracy theories. He's one of us. He's pretty woke as far as like conspiracy theories and stuff. I think he'd be the first president to simultaneously be a Christian and believe in ancient aliens.
Yeah, for sure. I'm totally on board with the Kanye presidency. I think Trump might be just saying, had a rough go of it. I'm gonna sit this one out. Leave the place in shambles. Don't give him enough time to build it back up. And boom, 4 years later, I'm back in the game. I'm running again.
Right, he could do that. It could also open up, other celebrities to come in and challenge Kanye. If Kanye says he's going to run, who's to stop, a Tom DeLonge from jumping in there and
Yeah,
saying, you know what, I've already got government experience. I'm fucking working with the DOD. I'm already like working on disclosure. I'll get in there and run the presidency. You know, that could happen. We could see these celebrities start to step up. I hope not. I would rather get some disclosure first. I think I'd rather see Tom DeLonge give us some disclosure and hopefully get some aliens coming down to stop some of this madness.
there is a celebrity acting kind of like a politician right now, and that is Chrissy Teigen, who is getting lit up on Reddit. I'm gonna throw a tweet up on the screen real quick.
Yeah, please. A lot of celebrities are coming under fire with their possible connections to Epstein. We're also getting a second round of, cancel culture, and a lot of celebrities are getting canceled for sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, stuff like that. And Chrissy Teigen, I had not heard of a prior connection to Epstein, but since she, has started deleting tweets, I'm seeing, tweets saying she's on the flight logs.
Yeah, I see stuff saying she's on the flight logs. That particular tweet I threw up said, "I'm about to go Anthony Weiner on this kid." That's a very specific order as to what you're going to do to a kid. And just anybody who reads that should be uncomfortable. That is an uncomfortable.
Yeah, I get uncomfortable just, mentioning Anthony Weiner. And to say that you're going to do that about a kid, she's uh, definitely showing us that she is a government operative or something there, a clone government operative, mind controlled maybe. There's several different things that could be going on there, but we're definitely seeing some links to more and more celebrities to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. We're gonna see, a lot of the top people out there, a lot of the news, it's getting into the mainstream media, and then a lot of the stuff I follow on YouTube. They're saying that Ghislaine, is ready to dump everything. She's ready to jizz it out there,
Yeah.
and turn everything from fucking that she has from Epstein over to save herself.
Yeah, she seems like she's just gonna rat everything. I think Jeff was her true love, and I think now that he's gone, now that she's locked up, I think she's done. I think she's just gonna spill everything. And you got the ultimate rat on your hands, and you got to snuff a rat like that. You got to snuff a
Oh
rat
yeah.
like that. If you're God, I mean, you talk about snuffing Jeff. Jeff, Jeff would have kept quiet, man. Jeff would have kept quiet.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She's ready to spill the beans. I'm interested. I mean, it's crazy that she was in the United States. That was surprising,
Yeah.
and also suspicious. But yeah, we'll see what she releases. And it's such a crazy time too because you can't tell what is connected and what's not. But there's a couple other things we need to hit on before we close the episode, right?
There there are. I did want to add that the her staying in the US feels very much like a Loki in the Avengers or a Joker in the Dark Knight move, where they're intentionally trying to be imprisoned.
Oh, okay. She wants to get caught so she
She
can bust
wanted
out.
to get caught, yeah.
Or she wants to get caught so she can turn over information, fuck shit up.
I think she tried to get caught. She got in the cell. She's waiting for the Clintons with a shiv.
Right. She's waiting for the Clintons to do the lights out thing, and then
Yeah.
lights back on, and Hillary's there like Batman, you know,
Mhm.
fucking ready to hash it out with her. You know,
Yeah.
that would be a hell of a fight.
It would be, and they better leave the cameras on this time. That's all I can say. Leave the cameras
Yeah.
on. Give the American people what they deserve. G-Max, HRC, to the death, hell in a cell.
You know, we'd all love to see that. You know, I do need to ask you, Falls. I saw. I think we've all seen the supposed pedo ring busted on Reddit, right?
Yeah, are you talking about the Wayfair
Yeah.
incidents?
Do you think this is possibly connected?
I do think that Wayfair could be connected. Let me throw up a Reddit post real quick showing the Wayfair. So, see, is it possible Wayfair involved in human trafficking with their WFX utility collection, or are these just extremely overpriced cabinets? Note the name of the cabinets. This makes me sick to my stomach if it's true. So you
yeah,
can look
cabinets
up.
were expensive as fuck. I would not order the cabinets of that quality for that price. Definitely not.
Yeah, so you can see the same cabinets on Wayfair for around $1,000 to $1,500. And if you look at these cabinets, like they're named like Noria, and there's another girl's name here, Uriza, and they're the same cabinets, but they're like $14,000, $15,000. And Bill Hutcherson is the CEO of Wayfair. And here's a photo of him with G-Max right here. They are hanging out at a party.
Right
They
there.
are having a good time.
Enough said. Right there. There's your proof.
Yeah.
What more do you need?
Yeah, I don't think you need any more. I think my impression is Wayfair. You know, Wayfair is kind of an outlet type store where they kind of sell off overstock of people's furniture and stuff. They're selling off the overstock girls that were left over from the Epstein bust.
Oh fuck, dude. See that right there. I mean, and the timing is just, you know, it's just dead on. It makes it too close. And it's mind blowing. So yeah, this Wayfair thing, you know, props to Reddit, the heroes on Reddit, for finding this out, and exposing this. You know, we were just about to order new cabinets, so
yeah, and those cabinets have been taken down now, so they'll probably be at TJ Maxx here pretty quick. TJ Maxx, maybe a Ross Dress for Less.
Big Lots, definitely check Big Lots.
Yeah, check Big Lots. If you see an extremely so it's 14 grand on Wayfair. It's probably going to be like 8 at Big Lots. If you see a cabinet for like 8 at Big Lots, there's probably a child in it.
Anything over 500, I would say go ahead and check in there. Like,
yeah.
Rip open the box, like check in the cabinets, even the displays in the store, and make sure there's no kids in there, because you know they're gonna get stowed away in anything to be sold. And now, you know, Wayfair is gonna be looking to unload that stock. So yeah, that's gonna be at your closeout stores and shit like that. So
you might
definitely open those up.
You might save a life or two, you know.
You might, for real. You might, you might do that. So share that around, folks. Definitely get the word out that to stay away from Wayfair. They are selling kids in cabinets.
Yep, and talking about some disappearances. Well, one's not in particular a disappearance, but it seems like a botched disappearance. JonBenet Ramsey. So this is a photo of JonBenet Ramsey the day before she was found dead. And if you look really close back, just over her shoulder, that is G-Max. Ghislaine Maxwell is over her shoulder. she was with John Bonet the day before she died. So we got
This
that one. That's
mind blowing. There. Why? What is Ghislaine doing around? These child pageants.
See, what I read actually was that her sister was doing some work, like confirmed her sister was doing some work for for the Ramses company. So she was hired on contract for the Ramses company, and so they theorized that Ghislaine was also doing work for the Ramses company at the time. That isn't proven, but I'm pretty sure it is proven that that her sister was working for
Fuck, man. Well, we have. I know. I've long theorized that the sex trafficking had something to do with the John Bray Ramsey case. You know,
her. Yeah,
as well as just immediately thinking that it was the parents because they're creepy as fuck. Um, but that's some very intriguing evidence there. That photo, and we may have to do a whole episode. We don't do much true crime here on Bridging Realms, but we've been looking to bridge more into that realm recently, especially for the ladies for false. Lockdown quarantine is even worse on him. He's getting so lonely, um, and he's had to risk COVID. Trying to find love. But luckily, you've had COVID several times now, so I once you have it a few times, I think your antibodies are built up enough.
well, and I pretty much like if I want to get it again, I know how to get it again. So like if there's like this cute girl that is positive, and she's got a quarantine for 14 days, like I'm there. I'll get it
Right.
and I'll quarantine with you, I mean,
Fuck yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool. I'll hang out. I'm a cool guy.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you're all about hanging out, nesting.
Yeah.
But yeah. So um, like we want to get into more true crime and stuff. So we might have to do a whole John Benet Ramsey episode because I've recently heard some theories and some popular some popular conspiracy podcasts out there getting big numbers, doing whole podcasts, with guests claiming that John Benet was a psyop or a completely fake person,
Yeah.
completely created by the FBI, not even like a real child. And that's pretty disturbing if that kind of shit is real.
I,
Um,
I've been seeing a lot of John Bonet grown up too, composites where it's like, is this girl John Bonet? Where John Bonet didn't really die.
okay, like the death was faked.
Yeah.
There's those theories as well. So we might have to look into that. Might have to delve into more true crime. If there's any cases you guys would like us to go into, let us know. If there's any more celebrities that you think might be fake people or clones or anything like that, let us know. Also, if you have any more leads on Chrissy Teigen or what the fuck she is, let us know. Definitely.
Yeah, and let's get into one more true crime case real quick, which is the
Hell yeah.
disappearance of Madeline McCann. So check this out. These are some police composite sketches of people that were persons of interest in the Madeline McCann abduction. If you look there on the right, there's G Max, and in the middle, it just looks like a drawing of her.
Fuck, dude.
It's a pretty good drawing of her, and I'm pretty sure she was involved in the disappearance of Madeline McCann.
And I mean, look, if you look at that, like all of them look like dudes, and then there's that one that's kind of a chick,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's the only one that could be kind of a chick, and then she has that kind of a chick haircut, that like from the back, like looking at the back of her head, you might think it's a guy.
yeah. And she was running into that all the time with Kevin Spacey.
I'm sure. I'm sure that she was.
So
Um,
let's get on to a hive of scum and villainy itself, Reddit. which we all frequent.
Right, back to Reddit. This episode's full of it, and we love it.
So one of the most upvoted Reddit posters of all time. I think the first person to reach 1 million upvotes, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Doc?
Right, this is they said very popular Redditor posting like fucking every day for 14 years.
So this Redditor is you slash Maxwell Hill, and it appears to be Ghislaine. It appears to be Ghislaine. She's openly advocating to lower ages of consent to 14 in any country she can.
Wow.
Yeah, she's just all over the place. A lot of her material's been deleted. The good folks at Our Conspiracy have assembled some great threads. You guys should get on Our Conspiracy, check it out. Go back through all of these 1 million upvoted comments and look into the mind of a psychopath. Look into the mind of a groomer, and see exactly how that works. Because we're gonna need more people like that.
Right, yeah.
If Jeff's gone, if Ghislaine's gone, where are the villains? Does Batman just sit around on his hands?
Right, we've got to find more proof. More proof of these villains. Maybe Ghislaine can give us that. Maybe she'll turn over and give us some tapes.
Maybe a whole new rogue gallery.
Yeah, maybe so, because we're looking at a time where it's on the table for God knows how many of the elites to go down. I'm hearing through the grapevine, some news that there could be some indictments and stuff coming out with many elite from the Trump campaign, and that's classic. QAnon's been saying that for a long time. Your man QAnon.
I theorize that all of these Hollywood celebs are trying to groom. So, guys, read those comments, comb them, figure out exactly how she's grooming over Reddit, and fight back against the Hollywood elite. Take these villains down.
Definitely get on there. I've heard that they're getting deleted as we speak, just like Chrissy Teigen's tweets. So, definitely keep the elite accountable. Keep them accountable on Twitter, on Reddit, wherever they are. And keep us accountable. Definitely tweet us and let us know what you think on Instagram, all the social media.
Well, I got one more thing to cover, Doc, and I just have to bring it up. If we're gonna be real honest, like, Ghislaine's pretty hot, right? Like,
I definitely do. I don't think so. I see. We talked about this, before we started recording, and I'll say again, she is she's a lady. I just not really my type. But obviously you've thought about this a lot.
Well, I'm going to throw up an image that has been burned into my head real quick. You just see those Mossad milkers, man, and you just go after it. Just gotta hope she beats this one.
Yeah, to each his own. Hopefully for justice, and so we can get the information. Yeah, hopefully she beats this thing, and makes it at least to trial.
Yeah, it'd be surprising, but one day she might be kicking back on the island again, hanging out in the pyramid and enjoying a nice cold drink.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit of quarantine for you, and also maybe some like bad girl hotness, like when she's evil.
Yeah.
An evil person, like even when they took that movie Monster and made Charlize Theron up to look all gross, and she played Eileen Wuornos, and she's supposed to be this gross serial killer. You were still kind of attracted to her because you knew under that gross makeup it was Charlize Theron, and she was making out with Christina Ricci. So, you're like, oh, she's still kind of a hot serial killer.
Oh, that was a sexy movie. That was Charlize's best role. Yeah, she's never looked hotter.
Yeah, that's how it happens. It's that serial killer, or that evil edge. It's like like you were telling me the other day, like you thought the Wicked Witch of the West was kind of hot, the green skin thing.
Oh, there was no kinda about it. That's full on. Like, yeah, that's hot. If I could transport myself back in time, that movie set, I would have an engagement ring with.
Yeah, and I know you've got. I've heard your ASMR thing with the cackle, just going over and over again. So that's pretty interesting, and I'm hoping that some of the listeners maybe can relate with you on that.
Yeah, there are people out there who are definitely in the bad girl club with me. Can appreciate. It's just like an attraction to Catwoman. Just exactly the same thing.
You know what? I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you that I do have an attraction to someone that I would say in that bad girl way. And it's this photo going around of Ivanka Trump holding the Goya beans.
Yeah.
And something about that gets my goat, man. She's looking pretty good holding those beans.
Oh yeah, I gotta 100% agree with you. Just something about the Goya, man. About that Goya.
And it's making me think, like, what would Melania look like holding the Goya beans?
Right? You're about to make me end the episode.
Well, I mean, like, and then just then I started trailing off. I'm like, what if both of them were holding Goya beans? What if both of them were holding cans of beans? And I'm like, the only thing crazier is if like the like you cross party lines and bring in AOC with a can of Goya beans, and then Tommy Lauren's maybe there too, and then that's a little too much for false freedom,
Yeah. Once you add Tommy, it's go back to mommy. All right.
Well, I'd say we need to go.
Yeah, let's wrap this up, guys. I hope you've learned a lot delving into the realm of Ghislaine. Learned a little bit more about Jeffrey Epstein, about Wayfair, about Reddit.
Yeah, definitely. Keep your eye out there. Because all of this is going on. Everything in the world right now is a complete distraction for these pedophile sex trafficking rings. So definitely keep your eyes open, right? I mean, False has really turned me on to this, just sending me daily news updates and just constant barrage of messages about these pedophile rings. So I'm trying to keep abreast. Want to get you listeners informed.
Yeah, I'm doing my best not to go too deep down the rabbit hole. We all know that happens. But you guys don't either. You let us go deep down the rabbit hole. We'll provide the research for you, and you can make of it what you want once we give it to you. But don't go out there getting the research yourself. It's too dangerous.
Definitely, yeah. Don't get it yourself. Get it right here at Bridging Realms, and we can tell you. We can expose that truth and tell you what is right.
All right. Well, signing off. I'm False Freedom 691.
I'm Dr. Gene Carlisle. Keep bridging those realms. Until next time.